G'day guys and welcome back to this week's episode of the Red Vest podcast. And this week, there's no special guest on, but it's Macca, myself and Shermo sitting down as a trio for the first time, having a chat about ourselves and a bit about general footy news to give you guys a bit of an insight on what we're like behind the microphones. But we hope you enjoy it and stay tuned because next week we've got a really big announcement, possibly our biggest guest ever coming on the show. So stay tuned guys and thanks for listening. That's it, guys, and we're back today with another episode this week. Obviously, last week, guys, we had the big news of Shermo joining the show, and he's on this week, his first episode. Shermo, how are you, mate?
Awesome, boys. Very good. Very good.
It's good to have you, mate, and obviously a previous guest of the show, and we didn't buddy know you about a month ago, but now you're another host along with us, boys, and I guess, do you want to just talk the listeners through why you're on the show and what sort of brought you to want to join the team?
Yeah, sure, mate. No, I'm very excited. I was blown away with the show and the way it was set up and the great work that you boys have put in. And yeah, it's a very humbling experience to be part of the show now. And I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for the Red Vest.
It is a pleasure, mate. And you talk about as Macca and myself talked about it a few times when we were lining up guests for our show. It was always we're always pretty nervous before jumping on with with an ex-AFL player or AFL player, and now I guess you look a couple of weeks back and we barely knew you talking to you, but fast forward to now, we've got you on the show and we're all buddy best mates. So it's a pleasure to have you on again, mate, and we can't wait to get stuck into it today. A few things we're going to run through for our show, guys. This won't be a regular sort of scene. We're always going to have guests on, but due to Shermo coming on as a host now, we wanted to bring you guys a little insight to what Shermo's like as a person rather than a footballer. And we're also going to talk about a few AFL topics just to run you guys through that, because Macca and myself have been loving doing that at the moment. And we'll give you guys a few tips that we're going to select, and we might have a couple little segments in there that'll create a few laughs. So first of all, boys, I want to talk about a couple AFL segments. Going off last week's round, pretty good round to watch footy, I reckon. I want you blokes to give me your coach of the week. Macca, I want you to start us off with this one. Who is your coach of the week and why?
Well, I think you can't go past the ladder leaders at the moment, Port Adelaide. Like their win over West Coast, a quality team. Kenny Hinkley did a fantastic job just solidifying them as one of the best teams in the competition. And they're probably up there with the flag favourites at the moment with some other teams like Collingwood and other teams that are showing signs. That with Gold Coast, they're second on ladder we don't know about, but I reckon Ken Hinkley has definitely put in a good performance, beaten West Coast by a fair margin to show that they're real contenders this year.
I think you're right there, Macca. And look, from my point of view, Port Adelaide, I don't know if it's because they're in the hub or not, but they're not getting much attention at the top.
They're not. No. They never do. They've always been an underrated team. They have,
and this year, I do remember going into the season, David Koch saying, if Port's a no-show in the finals this year, then Kenny Hinkley's out. But what a response it's been from their boys, and obviously they're wanting to play for their coach, which should be the case, and they are, and they're absolutely whooping everyone. And I think teams would be quite nervous going up against them. Shermo, what are your thoughts on that, mate? And do you want to give us your coach of the week too?
Yeah, just before I dive onto that, off the back of that point too, mate, I reckon what's spurring Port Adelaide on at the moment is the fact that it's their 150th year anniversary for the football club.
Definitely.
So let's not take that lightly as well. When it's an anniversary for anyone's footy club, I think you dive into the history and what's behind it and who's come before you. And I think at the moment they're playing for their jumper, and you can really tell that. So that's certainly what stands out there. But for me, I think my old mob at the moment, Brisbane, I think they're flying. Fags, he's got them absolutely humming up there at the moment. I think the old father figure is back in footy. I think, he's really proven just how much value you can have as a father figure coach. Definitely. Up there. I know the boys love him, and they're starting to really, really be quite a scary team from all lines. You look across, they've got all quality players that are still young, that have played over 100 games. So, I can't wait to see what Brizzy can do this year. And I think Fake is doing a sensational job and should take a lot of credit for that also.
Yeah, I reckon you're right there, Sharon. And you'd almost say that Brisbane pretty much needed that father figure again after they obviously had Lee Matthews, which a lot of the blokes looked up to, Lethal being one of the all-time greats. But then they had Vossi, and
Yeah.
I think they might have had Lepper after that as well, and a couple stand-ins. But geez, I think Fags just gets a bit more respect from the playing group. Coming from Hawthorn too, you know, I think obviously in this era, Hawthorn's very well respected amongst the competition, whether it be past or present. And everyone that's come out of Hawthorn's coaching sort of scheme, I think, gets a lot of respect, and Fags definitely gets a lot of respect, and he's blooding him well up there, and the Lions are going well. For me, boys, the coach of the week, I don't want to sound biased, but I'm going to have to – I honestly, I have to go with Brett Ratton. After last week, copped a pretty big reality check from the Pies. And look, in the past couple of years, following obviously my team closely, the Saints, they've really struggled with responding to criticism and responding to, you know, I guess, reality checks after winning a couple of easy games. And for the Saints to come out on the weekend against the reigning premiers, the Tigers, and play the footy they played against the Doggies again with that fast run and the accuracy on the board too. I think they only kicked 3 points for the whole game. And I think St Kilda's starting to really show that they're finally coming through that sort of dry patch where they win 3 or 4 easy games against mid-table teams and then drop off against the big sides. But still a long way to go for them. But for St Kilda to respond like that, I think Brett Ratton's done an almighty job down there, and I'm keen to see a bit more from the Saints. So I'll be following them closely. Next thing we're going to dive into, boys, is Zach Merritt hit on Jack Silvani. Now, before we dive into it, I just want to say, I think with this, had Jack Silvani not have broken his rib or whatever the injury was, it was pretty significant. He spent a night.
Yeah, fractured rib and a bruised liver, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think that that's a suspendable offence without the injury?
Well, you look at the action he did, and like you see it weekly in every game. It's as Merritt was chasing him down, and he was just that bit short of him, and he couldn't exactly get the full tackle, but he just like sort of threw the arm out there to let the player know he was there. You see it weekly, everyone does, and obviously he just hit that sweet spot on Silvani, where if you just get that right spot, you get that injury. And they're trying to be, as we've heard in the radio, and they're trying to be a bit stricter on it, giving out more fines and suspensions and stuff. And I think the injury played a big role in it. If he wasn't injured, I reckon he would, if he did get the week, you'll definitely see him appeal, and he might even have gotten off. So, but I think he'd be happy copping the 1 week since he has broken the rib at the moment. But yeah, it would be definitely interesting. I reckon it would be a different scenario if there wasn't an injury there. What do you think, Shermo?
Yeah, I sort of agree with you there, Macca. I think the one thing that we've realised out of all this is the AFL stance on all this. So I think that was quite prevalent yesterday, and the fact that, you know, if you are going to cross that line now and you're going to, you know, punch or late, or you're going to hit late, that you've got to, if you're going to cause injury, that's probably going to go the other way at the tribunal now, and you're probably going to get suspended because of it. So it's a really fine line that we find ourselves in now, and we've got to be so careful. I think community footy as well. I mean, if that's, you know, I think all around as a code, we just need to get a little bit better at that. But take nothing away. I think that action is definitely not a suspendable offence in my book. But you know, when you do, you know, get someone in the wrong spot, just like yesterday with the Tom Stewart thing, you know, the Melbourne game. You know, we've seen Tommy McDonald. How many times, guys, would you see? You know, you'd see 20 bumps those in a forward line a game. You know, I go back to when I was playing. You know, God knows how many times that had happened to try and get someone out on the lead. So he just, again, got him in the wrong spot. And in my book, shouldn't definitely be suspended because of it.
No.
Yeah, that Tommy Stewart action, just a little niggle. And now he's going to be out for a few weeks,
my stance on this is I'm a bit confused with it almost, because for me, you know, that wouldn't be a suspendable offence in my eyes. Like, Zach Merritt is, we don't know what Zach Merritt is like as a person. You know, and obviously in the game, you don't sit there and go during the week, I'm going to go out and whack this bloke late. I think it's more of a heat of the moment sort of thing. To be able to stamp that out in a game, I think it's the AFL are doing the right thing by trying to stamp people out and just send a message. But I don't think it's going to happen with the heat of the moment sort of things when, especially in a close game or a big rivalry game. I don't think Merritt obviously goes out intending to hit Silvani, but in the heat of the moment, he did get him. And whether suspending him or not sends a message, I think it's always going to be in the game. And I don't know if there's going to be much they can do about that. But going on to another exciting topic, we'll talk about our Brownlow favourites. We are a couple rounds in now. I know a few boys on this show, not myself, are big fans of a big redhead up on the Gold Coast. Sherman, I want to throw to you first, mate. Who is your Brownlow favourite so far, and who is your Brownlow favourite going into the season?
Well, if you had asked me last week, it was pretty hard to go past. I know it's his first year, but Matty Rao's been unbelievable. And I think because the Gold Coast are winning some footy, he's certainly been kicking his couple of goals from the midfield every week as well and been quite efficient. So if you had to ask me last week, probably Matty Rao, but I reckon Lachie Neale's got to take some serious credit. Over the last 3 years, his resume as a footballer has risen, and in my eyes, he keeps rising to the occasion year after year after year. It's only going to be a matter of time before that guy stands on the podium at the end of the year as our Brownlow medalist. And I really feel at the moment, the guy's had 6 shots on the weekend. I know he didn't kick any of them, but to have 6 shots from the midfield, that's insane. And he's getting a lot of football, and he's playing in a great team. And that's with Dane Zorko, their skipper, out at the moment, and Stefan Martin, their number 1 ruckman. So you get those 2 guys back in, I think they're going to be a very hard team to beat. But I think Lachie Neale at the moment is just an absolute superstar of our competition.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Sure.
Mako, I know you've got a massive... We've talked about it on the show, mate, but you are a big advocate of Matty Rao.
Yes, I am. It's public knowledge by now that I have a man crush on Matt Rao. I've seen the Red Bull gives you wings, Matt Rao gives you wins T-shirt going around. I think I'm going to cop that as soon as I can. The paycheck's coming in tomorrow, I think. So, but
lock that in.
We heard about 2018 or whatever, or 2017. Dustin Martin, best individual season of all time. Brownlow, Norm Smith, premiership. Matt Rao's come in and he's just saying, "Sit down, Dusty. You're a bit overrated." He's come in 4 weeks now. He's had 3 BOGs. He had his first week against Port. It was a bit rough. He had 20 touches still. He's just getting used to it. He's gone, "I'll give you a head start." 4 weeks in, 3 BOGs. He's just getting started, boys. He's taken Gold Coast to a premiership. He's winning a Brownlow. If he doesn't get the Norm Smith, something's wrong there. But he's saying, "Sit down, Dusty. This is the greatest individual season." He'll have a doco written about him at the end of the year.
He's called it here early.
I will say, though, if you asked me at the start of the year, I would have said Lachie Neale for sure. Like Shermo, the last 3 seasons, I've put Lachie Neale on for Brownlow in the preseason. He's let me down the last few years, but he's definitely looking in strong contention at the moment. Them two are leading the race by far over everyone else, and it's just who can keep it up for longer. What about you, Gilsey? Who do you reckon?
Look, this one's a bit left field, and I don't think it can happen without the team winning because that plays a huge part in the way the umpires look at the game. But for me, Andrew Gaff has been outstanding at the moment.
For sure.
He's really flown under the radar this year. I think he's had over 25 nearly every week, and he's been pretty accurate with the footy too. In terms of disposal efficiency, not on the scoreboard, but West Coast not pulling much together and copped another beating on the weekend. I don't see them, playing against like a Port Adelaide on the weekend. I think Charlie Dixon kicking 6 goals and having certain so-and-so touches is going to take the 3 votes. But for me, Gaff will be a bit of a dark horse because in a star-studded midfield, he's taking the cake every week. So that's my pick at the moment. Another talking point of the morning, boys. Obviously, this show isn't live, but this morning we found out that Richmond and West Coast will no longer go ahead this Thursday night due to, what is it, Macca? The Queensland government not
Queensland have said they're not wanting Richmond in their state. They've given them the flick. So it looks like Sydney will make the trip up to Gold Coast to play West Coast, and Richmond will stay back and play Melbourne.
Now, boys, what are your thoughts on this? Are you a bit shocked? Are we sort of going, "Oh, it was coming," or what do we reckon? Because from my point of view, this is a big shock.
Yeah, definitely. Like this massive reshuffling of the fixture going on. Like they're scrambling, and what is it? It's Tuesday today. Monday today. They're just scrambling to get it ready in time. So like, the first match is in 3-4 days. Like if you're like, I think you said St Kilda might be getting put on that Thursday night
after playing on Saturday.
That's a short notice. Like they're going to get ready real quick. So it's definitely affecting teams like heavily. So it'll be interesting to see if teams take it in their stride and go ahead, or if they'll be making complaints about it. But this is how the season is. We knew it was going to be like this coming into it. It's going to be the weirdest season, like by far. And whoever wins, credit to them.
Just on that, with the reshuffling and the short notice, at the moment we've got one clear favourite sitting at the top, and that's Port Adelaide, right? And then you got Brisbane, and then you got Collingwood as well in the mix, and then GWS are sitting around like they're a good side, but they're sitting lower, and we've got from about 4th to 11th or 12th sitting in the same sort of position.
Yeah.
With a team like St Kilda or Carlton getting short notice like that, and they, have a 5-6 day turnaround after a pretty taxing win. I know the Saints got a few injuries. I'm sure Carlton will be sore after a pretty intense game.
Yeah.
Do you think that's really is there another way the AFL can approach this? I mean, I wouldn't want to miss out on a week of footy, but at the end of the day, if that's going to cost the team 4 points going late into the season, do you think this is really fair, shifting a game so quickly?
Yeah, it probably puts so much effort back on the teams to prepare well. Like recovery is probably paramount. So you probably, if you turn around playing a game of footy 3 or 4 days later, all you'd be really thinking about, for me, if I go back to when I was playing, is just to get your body recovered enough to be able to go back out there and play. You take the skill and all that out of the game and the training out of the game for a minute. You've got to get your body right to go out to battle, and that's the number one rule every single week. So he's probably finding that's probably risen tenfold at the moment. Is you're going to be putting more effort into recovery more than ever, just to get your team out in the park to give them a good chance to win a game of footy every single week. That's my view.
Definitely. And you do talk about getting yourself right to play week in, week out. You know yourself what goes on behind closed doors. Ice baths, hydro and all that sort of shit. Massages.
All the things we love during winter, Gilsey.
Oh, school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Short skill sessions and just all that sort of stuff. Like it's pretty it's more mentally taxing than physically taxing almost. And yeah, you just wonder. I mean, it's pretty fair. It's pretty fair in the terms that St Kilda and Carlton both played on Saturday, and they will be playing what we think is Thursday night. But yeah, I just don't know how to view it really, because it's fair. But at the end of the day, are we going to get a good spectacle? We're seeing low scores at the moment with short quarters, and they're coming into a game after a 4 or 5 day break. Not even you don't really get a break because you're training and you're recovering. I just don't see how we're going to get much of a contest on Thursday night if both these teams are asked to play. So it'll be an interesting thing, and I think we're probably going to see more of it.
It's the first time we're seeing something like this, so we don't know how to take it. Like, it's just new to us all. So until we see it play out, it's all just up in the air, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, how players will go with low recovery rates, and if something does happen and in the future we get like 2 games in 1 week, it'll be exciting to see what kind of effects that have on the game if the scoring does increase and get those more interesting games as we've seen them say on the weekend. Yeah,
I think the 2 things that come out of this is, because you get less time to prepare, there's obviously going to be more injuries. I think we're seeing the injury rate skyrocket at the moment. Now, I remember before the season even started here, fellas, I was thinking to myself, geez, really taking the number down per quarter and then expecting the players to back up 4 days later, 3 days later and play games of footy. I think there's only one thing that's got to come out of this, and that's injury rate. It's going to go through the roof. And I think at the moment, every team is struggling to keep their stars out in the park because they're going to get more attention, naturally anyway. And I think we're finding at the moment, injuries have gone through the roof for every side. And, coming to that, that's why the recovery is going to be so paramount. But saying that too, to ask someone to come around and play 3-4 games, or 3-4 days later from a previous game, that's a massive stretch. And that's why you've got to be so mentally tough. And I think going back to Macca's point before, we all know that we're prepared to do that at the start of the year. We knew COVID was going to bring that. So there's really no excuses around we didn't expect for this or we didn't plan for this to happen. It's here now. And like Macca said, I think let's let it unfold a few more weeks and let's cause a view at the end of it and see where we're at.
Yeah, jumping on your point there with the injuries, it's going to, obviously there are more injuries. We're seeing it for sure. So many hamstrings and soft tissue injuries happening to even Jeremy Howe with his horrifying knee injury. Hope he gets better soon. That was hard to watch. But
that was
this is gonna show which teams have the best depth and which teams have gone out and recruited and done the best list management. Because you could see teams winning flags where they've had 1 to 2 injuries all year and they've had the healthiest team, and there's luck where some teams have struggled. This is going to show which clubs have the best overall scouting and recruiting and list management teams to get the whole depth of the club. It'll be interesting to see how that works because no team's going to have a healthy list going into the granny. Probably everyone will face some injuries.
Yeah, and off the back of that too, mate, I think what's interesting about, and this is the whole Gold Coast story at the moment. Now, they're young, they're inexperienced, they're playing off pure passion and adrenaline every single week at the moment, and they're getting the wins now, so they're getting reward for effort. So I think what we're seeing at the moment is naturally the AFL world will naturally look at the 4 best teams, and they'll go, right, they've got to be there at the end of the year. That's what's expected. But no unexpected Gold Coast story. And now you look at them and you're like, well, they've won games now. They know how to win and they're playing off pure passion and enjoyment for the game. I think they're playing with a mixture at the moment that not too many other teams have. They're playing with that young, enthusiastic energy. And I think if, let's judge them in another 2 or 3 weeks. They're probably not quite there yet to judge. Let's work out over this next month where they're at. But if they put, if they win 3 out of the next 4 and drop 1, I think we're going to be having a serious contender on our hands to be there at the end of the year.
Just before we go on, fellas, I want to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors, Sports Gear Australia. Sports Gear Australia is your new destination when it comes to original player issue AFL and NRL Guernseys. Currently stocking player issue gear in the GWS Giants, Gold Coast Suns and St Kilda Saints. For the die-hard fans and collectors, they're always trying to find that elusive piece to help you finalise your collection, or give you a new reason to start one. Join their Facebook and Instagram pages to see the latest additions. And until August 2nd, if you order via their Facebook page, you'll receive express post shipping for free by mentioning the Red Vest Podcast. That's right, guys, the Red Vest Podcast. This is an exclusive offer and only valid until the 2nd of August, so get in quick. If we don't have it, we'll turn the cupboards to find it. And now, boys, shifting the show to a more fun sort of segment, if you will. We've got our top 5 goals of all time we've gone with. We're not going with the week. We're going with all time. And we've all picked one, and there's a few in there that I've thrown in for a bit of a laugh. But at number 5, we've got a good contender here. We've got old Justin Sherman.
Oh, God.
We'll get the video.
Have a look at him. Here it is. Just react, boys.
Oh, out of the middle.
Here it comes.
This is a classic between Richmond and Brisbane.
Where's the worm?
The game.
Trav Johnson. Trav Johnson.
Off the ground. Ahoy! What a classic.
Carrying on like a pork chop.
I think it come from the year, that one.
It come from nowhere there, fellas. No, I don't know. I don't know what to make out of this. My goal out of nowhere are your theatric skills. I think you take the cake there, don't mate.
I'll take that, mate. And it was a great goal. We won't take that away from you. It was a goal of the year nominee, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. But I'm very grateful. I played in the forward line. I had Simon Black and Travis Johnson hit me on the tit every week. So I think they take a lot of credit.
Definitely.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
Macca, we've got one of yours at number 4. Do you want to talk us through it?
Oh, well, as a Collingwood supporter, we all know one of the biggest games of the year I love is always Anzac Day, and one of my favourite players of all time is Dane Swan, of course. So I go back to, I think it was 2012, 2013, when he was getting called fat in the newspapers each week, and he's come out and kicked a massive snag against the Dons and given the good old belly rub. I reckon that's one of my favourite goals of all time.
Oh, we'll play this one here. Here it is. Bit of volume on it.
Into the forward line. Here he goes. Out the back, running past, down the boundary line.
Here he comes. Oh!
Look at the speed on the fat man.
Oh!
Gives a little banana and gives it to the Essendon supporters in the cheer squad. You love that as a Collingwood supporter.
What a
We're
cracker.
stopping it all year. Classic goal. We love that.
Anzac Day on the big stage, old Swanee boy.
I was about to say, mate, you beat me to it. The big stage, you always stood up. That's why I was a great player.
100%. And coming in at number 3, this one, this is a pearler. This is an absolute pearler. The Saints, they weren't much chop back in 2016. Pretty poor side, coming up against a first in Geelong. And bit of a good win here just before the siren goes, actually. Jade Gresham puts us in front against the Cats from the boundary line. Let's watch this one, boys. Share screen at first. I'll edit this out. Oh, sell it. Oh, around the body snap.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, have a look at it. First year player, Jade Gresham on the big stage.
Delicious.
Have a look at that. Look at this. Jack
That's a
Stephen
team
now,
lift at that
now
one.
wearing the catch jumper. Doesn't matter. Look at that. Round the old boy. Straight through the sticks. Bang.
Nice little J curve on it to finish off.
Yeah, that was nice.
Love to
Now
see that.
we're going to roll into, what do we got? What are we up to? We're up to number 2.
Number 2.
Shermo. This is your pick, Shermo. You want to run us through it?
Yeah, Eddie Betts. I think we've seen a few classics from Eddie over the years, and we get pretty accustomed to seeing these. But let's have a look at this special one. This is one of my favourites of all time, and he's a special talent and even better bloke. So let's have a look at this.
Here he comes. Ed. Ball's dead, they reckon. Oh, here's Ed.
That looks like it was definitely going out. He keeps it in. Little grubber underneath. And thank you very much.
He loves it.
What a magician.
And then the celebration just to finish it off, just for you boys.
He loves it.
On Indigenous round, had to get the big game out of him, and he's brought what everyone wanted and more. One of the goals of the last decade, probably, that is.
Yeah, that's it. And at number 1,
you said you got a big one here.
At number 1, this is probably the biggest goal of all time, and
it's
one for all the fans. This one, let's just watch this. The audio will do the talking.
Done me dirty here.
Let's just watch this passage of play.
Mate, it's hard to watch for me, this.
Oh, we've all been there. Here he is, old flying Ryan. Oh, what a grab. What are we leading up to here? 2 minutes to go in the grand final. What could go wrong?
One of the most blatantly missed free kicks in history.
Oh, no.
Right here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he shoved Maynard out of the way. How's that not a free kick? For fuck's sake, come on. Got his head turned the other way, head up his ass, doesn't even see an obvious free kick. Oh, no.
You can see here for the viewers, it's, East Passion's
Oh! Sorry.
I was sitting right behind him when he kicked that too.
Oh, I love it. What a snake.
How about that? Hey, how about that, boys? The dagger, eh? The serious dagger.
It happened. It's in the past. This year, we'll get him this year, 2020 Premiers, the Pies.
Yes. All jokes aside.
Good goal to him. Dom Sheed, very talented man. We've seen him kick a few snags very similar to that in his years since. So, good player.
Yeah, very clutch,
aside,
very clutch.
That is one of the all-time goals, but I know how much it hurts, mate, being a Saints man, and you did get the wood over us a few times. Yeah. But, cracking goal, that one. And another one I want to throw in, Shermo. I won't chuck the video or the audio in, but a man who could launch a barrel back in his day, an old teammate of yours, Daniel Bradshaw. Do you want to? He could launch a barrel.
He could uncork the genie. That's for sure.
And I hear he's a bit of a whiz at everything he does. Oh, Daniel Bradshaw. Do you want to talk us through what he was like as a teammate?
Oh, mate, he was a ripping teammate. He was one of the guys that you love spending time with away from the club. And when you're at the club, he was the nicest bloke. We had a bit of a special connection because we're probably part of the same forward line for 6 or 7 years. So you get to know the guys you're playing with probably a little bit better naturally. Brady was a beauty. And I think the best thing about Brady, it wasn't just his football did the talking. He was multi-talented at everything he did. So whether he picked up a tennis racket, he was Roger Federer. Whether he picked up a golf club, he was Tiger Woods. And when he got the ping pong bat in his hand, oh mate, he had the backhand, he had the chop shot, he had the forehand. He could hit you with every shot. So yeah, Brady was a special talent and an even better bloke. And even if I caught up with him now, he'd be one of those blokes that you'd have a beer with, and you'd catch up on old times and it'd just be like yesterday. And he's a ripping bloke, mate.
Yeah, I heard you go up to some pretty intense table tennis tournaments in your time at Brizzy. You took it pretty seriously up there, didn't you?
We did, mate. We used to have a pro tour and a starlight tour. So if you're in the starlight tour, you're outside the top 20. So you needed to beat someone on the pro tour to get their spot. So that's how it all worked. And I think I got up to 3 at one stage, but I just couldn't get past Mitchy Clark, who's number 2, and Brady was always number 1. I'd got Brady a couple of times, but he'd win the next 5. He was just, again, so talented. But, Craig Lambert, he was one of the funniest guys on the ping pong table because he had this real big chop shot and he'd just use it time after time. It was his go-to. And I kept saying to him, mate, have you got a forehand, you got a backhand, or are you just going to use this chop shot? He goes, no, mate, this is my style and I'm sticking to it. And I'm going to wear you down. And I'm going to wear you down, mate. I'm going to wear you down. So it was his way of getting inside your head, I think.
Yeah, and boys, I thought we'd chuck in a new segment here just to get to know each other a bit more, get the viewers a bit of an insight into us, since that's what this episode's about, and just do a few quick-fire questions. I've chosen to do a bit of a this or that, but I know you boys have got some questions you'd like to ask each other, and I thought I might start by asking Shermo some questions just to get to know him a bit better. I've got them written down here.
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
just some simple ones, get to know the true you away from footy. So what do you prefer when you're going on a holiday? Were you more of a beach man, or do you like getting up to the snow and having a bit of a play there?
I like beach, mate.
Yeah, nice for warmer weather. You like
even though I'm not a fan of the sand, I love the water, mate. It's just pure. Love it.
That's good. Are you a dog or a cat man yourself? Because I know a lot of us here are big dog mans. Connor's got Lenny, I got Gary. So what are you personally?
I'm a cat, mate. Believe it or not, I had dogs and cats my whole life. And yeah, I just recently lost my cat. Was devastating because he was my best mate. He used to sleep in my room every night, and I'm a cat man through and through, 100%.
Oh, it's a bit of a controversial one there. Might have to look into
it is
host position. There might be up for grabs still. This is a trial, is it? But the big Australian tradition is the barbie in the summers, and we all love a Bunnings snag or two. But I know there's some fans. Are you more of a snag man, or do you like the hamburger on the barbie?
Yeah, can't go past a snag, mate, with sauce and bread. Oh,
good
wow.
Choice.
What a
Nothing
combo.
Beats Bunnings snag on the weekend going towards a good cause.
What a combo. And absolutely,
back the better.
And absolutely, anyone who comes after Bunnings will be the poor man snag, because Bunnings are number one on the list.
And lastly, are you more of a TV show or a movie man yourself?
I like watching my series, mate. So yeah, TV shows. I'm right into Netflix. If I'm not, as soon as I finish one, I'm on to the next highly rated one. So
what are you into?
Well, at the moment, I'm just about finished 13 Reasons Why. It's a cracking show. So it's really good. And then previous to that, I've got through Riverdale. So I've watched all that, which I find quite interesting as well. And then before that, I was on to Outer Banks. So I've gone from one to one. So they're all similar storylines, but yeah, I think any time to get us through COVID-19 nice and safely, mate. I'm enjoying my time on the telly at the moment.
Everyone's been plopped in front of it watching, but yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Have you got any questions you want to ask to anyone, Shermo?
Yeah, mate, I might go on to the big Gilsey. So, mate,
what you got for me?
Number one clothing brand, mate. What do you like to rock these days? You're obviously looking there. You love your long johns, love your long shirts. So, mate, what's on the top of your agenda? What do you like wearing?
You wouldn't believe it, mate. The Red Vest podcast hoodies are probably my favourite. Nah, I don't know. I'm pretty basic with my clothes. I don't really. I mean, Nike's obviously always been a top of the list for me in terms of shoes and boots, but I just like basic t-shirts, man. I'll just rock the Gildan t-shirts wholesale, a couple of bucks online, and just rep them everywhere. That's my go-to.
Where's the Dylan Friends a fair bit?
Yeah, Dylan Friends gets a run, but you know what?
Yeah, it gets a run. Yeah,
Dylan, nice. If you're listening, mate, I'm going to stop buying your products because you're a competitor now. So sorry about that. And you owe me a couple of favors after all the money I put into that show. So yeah, get on the show if you can, mate.
Hey, rightio, mate. Now I've got to ask this one. We've gone from clothes, now we're going to go to the hairdo. Now I know how much time you spend in front of the mirror. No, that's fair to say. Now it's fair to say, if you went to a barber, give me a rundown of what the haircut would look like, mate.
Okay, so I go in. You know what I've actually done the last 2 times I've gone for a haircut? It's been a couple of months now. I think it's been early April.
Been a bit of home jobs going on.
But I go in there and I show them a photo of Dusty Martin. I say, give me this. They say, why? I said, my football does the talking.
Oh, he's made a mistake.
He's got talk about East Arrow. He's gone bang.
Exactly.
Is this coming from that halfback flanker who got dropped for the prelim a few years ago and then somehow snuck his way into the grand final in the last spot?
Through injury. That was through injury. No, the last couple of haircuts, Shermo, they've been home jobs by my lovely partner, Beck. So thanks, Beck, for keeping it intact. It's looking pretty shit at the moment. It's been a while, but got the old peroxide in there. But
yeah, the bleach blonde hair
I think we'll stick with the Huds for now.
No one wants to see that.
Now, mate, in the household, you've got a big household over there.
Yeah.
Who's more strict, mum or dad?
Mum, 100%.
And obviously you got a passion for footy. Now we'll finish on a footy one for the viewers. Who's your favourite Saints player of all time and why?
Of all time? Oh, Jesus Christ! In terms of that I've seen play, I can't go past Nick Riewoldt. I mean, every week he would just play with his heart on his sleeve. But early days when I was a kid was, believe it or not, a lot of people probably wouldn't even know this bloke, but I know you would, and Macca probably knows him too. Old Maxie Hutchton down the back line.
Oh, Maxie Hutchton.
Maxie Hutchton.
Jeez, this one's from the archives.
He was my favourite player growing up as a kid. So,
yeah, there you go.
You know, you talk about kids liking your dusties and your full forwards, mate. The aspirations need to be the backman. I'm telling you.
Sure. Most underrated position backman.
Sure, I've told you the story before. When you got traded to the Doggies, one of my best mates, Cooper, who is living up the road from me, he bought an away Western Bulldogs white jumper, and the number on the back was number 10. And I remember a couple of years ago, I said, was it number 10? I can't remember.
Well, I was about to say, I'm going to stop you there. It wasn't Nathan Eagleton, was it?
No, it was whatever number you were.
Hey, come on, mate. Nathan Eagleton wore number 10 before me. You sure wasn't Nathan Eagleton?
No, I'm 100% dead serious. 2010 or 11 jumper.
Yeah.
And I said, why have you got who's this bloke? And he goes, I've got Justin Sherman. He's my favourite player. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then, so that's that story. And now he's on the podcast, everyone. So there's a story for you.
Cooper's sitting at home having a good old time.
Yeah, it is.
He's lapping it up.
And Shermo, thanks for drilling me a bit there, mate. It was a pleasure to answer a few of those questions. And guys, thanks for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure having Shermo on as a host. He'll be here every week. No, I'm joking. Fortunately for us, we've got a helping hand, and we can't wait to work with you, mate. And we hope you all enjoyed this sort of little different episode this week, and we'll certainly bring this a few more times, boys, because I've had a lot of fun today. But thanks for joining me, lads, and thanks to all the listeners. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. It was a good chat.
There you have it, guys. There's episode 10, and we'd like to quickly give a quick shout out to ourselves for reaching 10,000 listens last week. It's been a good journey so far. It's only 10 episodes in. We appreciate all your support. It's been a massive pleasure to do this every week, and sitting down today with Macca and Shermo and myself, just as a trio of hosts for the first time, was really pleasing, and we're excited to see where this show is going to go in the future. It's going to be more Macca and myself keeping to the general questions, and then Shermo will add a bit of life experience and a bit of coaching expertise when he can with the right guests. So we hope you enjoyed that, guys, and next week we've got a huge guest, so please stay tuned and stick around because we love all your support. Thank you.